Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video I'm going to be continuing the series where I use content creators team. I'm using another team from Homeslice just mostly because I wanted to use a team with Golisopod, and this seemed like a pretty interesting one, especially with Regirock. And Trevenant did get nerfed, which did actually impact some matchups, but I still think Trevenant is quite strong in the meta. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, the first comment's gonna be a link to the original video. So obviously extremely bad lead for me. So I switch out to Golisopod, and it seems like they're staying in. And I kind of wish I threw the liquidation at the Machamp. I didn't want them to catch into something. So anyways, likely they have payback anyways. And but you saw those counters did quite a bit of damage. I am gonna throw the liquidation again. I believe I get the defense drop. I do not get the defense drop, and I will survive a feather dance. This is Ultra League, so I should be able to survive the feather dance. And I only get to the X scissor, but the opponent probably thought I was going to get the liquidation because there's absolutely no way this should have KO'd, or this would KO. But they wanted to control switch, and I'm gonna let this go, and then we will see what they decide to do. They switch out into Machamp, and I decide to shield here. Because I think it's a payback, and it is ultimately a payback. I'm going to throw right before they get to the second payback, and just a seed bomb, and let's see what they decide to do. And I think they actually decide to bait me here, but honestly, I'm not too concerned. Once they go for the bait, I know whatever they're going to throw cannot be a payback, and I go for the Shadow Ball. Because that does more damage than the seed bomb, just barely. And they have a Gliscor, and I'm gonna bank the seed bomb, and I'm in a pretty good spot just because I didn't want them to Night Slash boost and then land the Earthquake. Then obviously I'd be in huge trouble. And I do get to the Earthquake, not the Earthquake, the Rock Slide, which is enough to take out the Gliscor. So pretty tough matchup for me in the back. I do think that they could have switched a little bit faster to Pidgeot and then debuffed right away, then farm down. Probably would have been a slightly better play, but worked out to pretty okay for me. Overall, I went 14 and 11 with this team. So I think it was like 3 positive sets, 2 negative ones. So overall, pretty positive. I kind of play this out differently. Sometimes I'd like to catch the first one. I think I actually did catch the first one this time, and I caught the Focus Blast. I really want to catch on Golisopod, but it's too risky that they don't throw, and then they Zap Cannon. So I do go for the Shadow Ball, which they end up no shielding. I am going to shield this move because I do think it's a Shadow Sneak. And they will reach a Dragon Claw, which I will survive. I'm going to let this go. Should be able to Shadow Claw down. And let's see what they come in with. I think they come in with their own Golisopod. They do come with their own Golisopod. And I'm in a decent situation here. I come into my own Golisopod, mostly because I don't want to take a liquidation on my Regirock. Though I guess like it wouldn't be too big a deal because I would survive the liquidation, but this is fine. This will put them into Focus Blast, or at least threaten the Focus Blast. So I go for the Stone Edge bait. One Focus Blast does not KO my Regirock. It does put me extremely low. And I'm kind of contemplating how to play this. I decide to shield. I'm not sure necessarily the best play. I do go for the Focus Blast this time. They do have a move banked on their Golisopod. And honestly, I probably should just blind through the Stone Edge because there's likelihood chance that they're going to switch. But I didn't want to risk it, and I felt pretty good because I can just strictly farm down this Golisopod. I guess worst case scenario is that they have Aerial Ace, but they actually end up throwing the liquidation. I can't remember correctly, but I believe Bug does not resist Bug. So they would have made it to 2 X scissors, which would not have KO'd, and 2 liquidations definitely would have KO'd in that scenario. Plus, they had not that much energy on Registeel. So that's how I like to play it. Sometimes I like to throw the Focus Blast and try to catch the second one. Just depends on the reads that you're making on the opponent, and sometimes just a lucky guess. All right. We're going to have Regirock into Pidgeot. Very good lead. And I believe they actually come into Kofagrigus, which I don't have a great answer to. Both my Pokemon in the back are okay against it. So I'm just going to force it to throw. They actually end up shielding the Stone Edge, which is pretty bad for me. I do need to chip this thing before going into Golisopod. They do go for the Shadow Ball, which makes sense. And I throw the Stone Edge. I have to switch now. Otherwise, this Pidgeot's going to be a nightmare for my team in the back. And I will take the Shadow Ball, which will do a tremendous amount of damage. And I should just went X-Scissor here. I should do one more Shadow Claw and then went X-Scissor, but I wanted to guarantee the KO, which I do get. I will be able to make it to the Liquidation, which does at least something, I suppose. But this opponent ends up outplaying me here. Did it in this matchup? I can't remember. This is one or another Pidgeot lead that I had lost. I am in Brave Bird range. Not quite Brave Bird range, but it's pretty close. And they come into Galarian Sun. Oh yeah, this game here. I definitely should have played it slightly differently. I throw the Shadow Ball. They end up shielding. I will reach the next Shadow Ball, but they'll reach the move. They'll be able to KO my... yeah, they'll be able to KO me. I thought I was going to be able to put them into Stone Edge range. But it's definitely not the case. They see and beat me. They're going to be able to... I unfortunately don't survive the third Rock Slide. Third Rock Slide. And they were actually dry here. So what I should have done is I should have shielded this move here and then went to 100 and then Stone Edged. Yeah, I should have went to... first off, I should have just thrown the Stone Edge at the Pidgeot, but they did switch in. So if I would have shielded because the G-Fist was dry, they definitely would have survived the Stone Edge there. The G-Fist was dry. Was it dry? Yeah, it was... No, maybe I had a little bit of energy. But I could have easily outpaced it if I shielded. Even if they Feather Dance me, go to 100. I'm just 4 lock-ons away. And they definitely were not that close. So kind of a misplay on my side. So I actually frame dropped when I tried to catch the move there. But that's okay. They throw the Focus Blast. I shield. I throw the Focus Blast back at them. And let's see what they want to do. And I will try to catch the second Focus Blast. And I do get the catch. Now they're dry on Reggie. And let's see what comes in. It's actually the Giratina. And I go for the bait this time. I let this go. The Dragon Claw. I do go for the bait. I think they actually no-shield this, which is a nice play by them. I should have just thrown the Seed Bomb there, honestly, though, because I wasn't going to make it to the Shadow Ball. And now I'm in a huge trouble here. I go into Golisopod. I lose a fast move there, which is really annoying. They do throw the Ancient Power at me. I'm going to let this go. Just Dragon Claw. And yeah, this is huge trouble for me. They actually shield this first one here. I'm not sure. I guess they would have to shield one of them, but I was hoping the defense drop. They obviously would resist Liquidation. And I decide to switch out, throw the Stone Edge. And this is well, I think their win con is very straightforward. Just throw 2 Breaking Swipes. I have to hope that they go for the nuke. And they do go for the nuke. End up shielding. And then I farm up just right beforehand. And I need to land a Focus Blast on the Registeel. The Registeel is pretty low, but I'm not certain the Stone Edge definitely would not KO. So I had to just farm up a little bit, throw the Focus Blast, and they come into Giratina. The Giratina is definitely in Stone Edge range, and I will survive this Dragon Claw, just barely. So I definitely would have lost if they would have went straight Breaking Swipe, especially since I was locked in. But it worked out fine for me. So sometimes, like, you just hope that your opponent will give you the window to win. Obviously, they were expecting that I was gonna call the bait, which a lot of times I would in that scenario. So it's not an unreasonable play. It just there was almost no lose con going straight Breaking Swipe there. All right, so the next game here, Red Rock into Toxicroak, obviously very bad lead, and I switch out into Golisopod. They don't seem to be switching out, so they must be pretty weak to Golisopod in the back. I let this go because one Sludge Bomb doesn't KO, but they actually end up baiting me, which was an interesting play, maybe because they really want to control switch, and they make a nice catch onto their Wall Rain. But still in a pretty good spot. No defense drop. And I throw another X Scissor at them. And they actually make a nice play here. Well, I guess like if they would have... okay, so I let this go. So I counted 9. They have enough for the EQ. But they honestly probably could have Icicle Spear then farm me down. So I do make the catch onto Trev. So I count to 8. And then I hope that they don't bait. And then they switch out into Aurorus. And not the best situation for me. I'm going to try to CMP tie on the next one. I do get the CMP tie, which is really nice here. But maybe I should have went in, should have Shadow Balled here. Yeah, I don't know. It's only slightly more than the move here. So I do end up shielding this because I do want to take this thing out. And plus I have a Stone Edge banked, so the opponent makes a nice play here. They obviously could have thrown the Mud Bomb at me at any point in time here. And then they make a catch onto Wall Rain, make a very nice prediction. And they switch out into Wall Rain, but that's not that big a deal. Just because like one Mud Bomb doesn't KO anyways. One Mud Bomb doesn't KO. I don't really think actually like 2 Mud Bombs don't KO either. So yeah, and then I'm gonna be able to make it to the Stone Edge and take out their Toxicroak. So didn't really quite matter just because I did make up. They didn't make a catch on me. I made a catch on them, but my catch ended up being slightly more consequential. So, all right, we're off to the next set here and picking up a good lead since I resist poison jabs and they come into Giratina. I don't really have a great answer to Giratina, to be honest. And obviously, I want to avoid Trev onto the Muck because that would be a very disastrous switch. And I'm just waiting for them to dump their energy. I do have to switch out eventually. And they throw another Dragon Claw on me. I'm just going to dump the Stone Edge. If they no shield, I'll switch. I also potentially could try to deal with Muck with Golisopod, but Golisopod's really glassy, so it's like super, super baity. So I come into Golisopod. I let this go. I am going to look to try to farm down. They actually come into Muck. I don't know why I threw the X Scissor here, to be honest. I should have threw the Liquidation to get the defense drop. It's also more energy efficient. So I try to say CMP tie on the Dark Pulse. And then I contemplate on whether or not I want to shield this or not. I end up shielding it because I don't expect them to bait because I don't think it's that reasonable for me to shield. So that's the main reason why I decided to play it that way. And I build up to the Liquidation and throw the X Scissor. Liquidation would be pretty close to KOing. I think they would actually barely survive. And actually make it to another X Scissor, which is pretty nice for me. and I switch out to Regirock, hoping that they would dump their energy. And unfortunately, I CMP tie. But I guess I would want to throw right away anyways to avoid the Shadow Claw damage. Because the Muck is going to have to throw at me regardless. And they actually make an incorrect switch here, in my opinion. So obviously, you'll see what they have in the back. I believe it's actually a Swampert. They come in Swampert. They definitely should have just came in Swampert into... and they decide to throw right away. And now my game plan is very straightforward. I'm just not going to wait the clock. It's very important I don't wait the clock because I need to build up energy for this Muck. This Muck is absolutely loaded. I need to make sure I have a charge move ready for the Muck. And they decide to throw again. And now they switch out. And I shield this here. I don't know why I said let this go. Luckily it's an acid spray, but this is game over. I'm just gonna Shadow Ball their Muck and then make it to a Seed Bomb. I'm one off the Seed Bomb. This is why it's very important I didn't wait the clock out, because if I waited the clock out, then the Muck would be able to come back in, and then I would have to make a catch onto the Golisopod, which obviously is infinitely more difficult of a play. So sometimes you wait the clock out, sometimes you don't, just depending on the scenario. You just have to have like awareness of the scenarios that where you want to switch right away versus waiting the clock, right? So in that case, my opponent was locked in, and I was not, and them being locked in an extremely unfavorable matchup allowed me to get a bunch of energy. All right. Move Regirock into Charizard. Really good lead here. I have two good answers to Charizard. Golisopod, a little bit less good of an answer. I threw a bad timing there because I was too afraid of the catch. Though I should just go to the Stone Edge, see the 5th wing attack, and then throw the Stone Edge. So they do have the Blast Burn. They come into Giratina. And I don't have a great answer in this scenario here. They do throw the Shadow Sneak. Try to CMP tie on the Dragon Claw there? I don't know. They end up shielding. And they make a mistake here. They actually throw. I wouldn't have survived that Shadow Claw. And I know I survived this move even with 1 HP damage. And I need to get rid of this Giratina. So I decide to Shadow Ball. So if they would have farmed me down, it would have been a better play on their side. And they come into Charizard. And I expect them to try to catch. And I'm in a very good spot. I don't necessarily even need to win this particular matchup here, just because I have a Stone Edge Bank, they have no shields, and I have a shield preserved. I get the defense fall, which is actually really huge for me, but there's not too much Swampert can do unless it has Sludge Wave. I resist all the moves. And I throw the X Scissor. Actually does not KO. X Scissor badly needs a debuff. Badly needs a buff, I should say. And they throw the EQ. It doesn't KO. It does quite a bit of damage, but... And this doesn't really matter here, so I'm just going to let this go. And then I'm just going to throw the Stone Edge at their Charizard. And that's a good game. It was a really favorable matchup for me there. I'm not sure. They definitely should have switched out and not, or caught the first Stone Edge or something, just because it didn't really work. They had two answers, two Pokemon, one hard answer, and then one Pokemon that's like pretty neutral to it, as opposed to one that's like really unfavorable in the lead that allowed me to get a shield advantage. And that shield advantage obviously played out really nicely for me because Giratina, Cresselia, this is actually a really good game too. I get outplayed in this one here. Here I should go Golisopod into the Crest because I know they're trying to bait out the Trev. The problem is like I have to shield on Golisopod, but maybe that's not the worst case scenario, is that shielding on Golisopod, just because I can come out with a decent amount of energy and then get the shield back. And then I can save this for what's in the back. Side to no shield. I don't think I would have survived that Psycho Cut afterwards, so it's kind of iffy here. Yeah. And then here comes Virizion. I actually lose this matchup in all even shields when they have, unless they have any move set, I basically lose to Virizion, despite me doing only neutral damage and them doing uh, resisted double kicks. And then stab leap blade. The thing is, like, leap blade is such a ridiculous move. It's super strong. It's actually very fortunate that grass is not super broken in the meta. Um, yeah, I don't really have too much play here, right? I let this go, and then I was anticipating the switch because I was afraid they're gonna snipe me, but I needed to anticipate the switch there because if they would have switched and poison jabbed me, then I would have been too low. So obviously it looks dumb here because I'm in a horrible position here, but the opponent just strictly outplayed me. Like there's not really much more to say here. I should have went Golisopod into the Cress, but it's such an annoying matchup because Cress is so tanky, and Golisopod is so glassy. It's non-stab, Shadow Claws, and X Scissor sucks. So, but yeah, so not too much I can do at this point in time. He's come back and poison jab me down. So nicely played by my opponent. Yeah, overall this team was fun. I wouldn't say this is like a super strong team, but it's certainly a team where you can have some fun. If you want to try a Golisopod team, this team makes total sense to play. So Regirock into Drapion, very similar type of situation here, and they go for the crunch because they went to 5, and then and make the same mistake again. I just really should go Golisopod into it. I should really look up that matchup, to be honest. Golisopod and I'm sure I have to shield, right? Because the 2 move less almost for sure KO. And I throw the Shadow Ball. This is a little bit of a tankier crest, so a little bit less attack weighted. So you'll see here that the Moonblast does less damage. There's not a realistic way for me to Shadow Claw down, but I try to put myself as low as possible. Actually end up shielding, and I end up losing a turn there, but it's not too big a deal. End up shielding this Grass Knot. I do anticipate that they're gonna anticipate. I'm anticipating that they anticipated that I'm gonna catch, right? So they're at 3 right now. So I actually go to, and they need just 2 more for the they need 2 more for the crunch. So I go 1 over, and then I get the CMP tie, which worked out really nicely for me. But they still end up just barely winning here. They actually no shield this Stone Edge, which I thought was curious. And they throw a good timing there. I do have to throw the Stone Edge though. I should do 1 lock on, then throw, because they're gonna. Well, maybe if I knew they were gonna survive the thing here, but anyways, they end up shielding. I let this go. Oh, I have to let this go because I have no shield left. But and I really badly. I actually thought I had this game here, but liquidation actually does much less damage than I thought. I was like, okay, I got this. Well, no debuff there. And they have back-to-back Dragon Claws. And I throw the liquidation. I badly need a debuff here. I badly need a debuff. Don't get either debuff. I do end up surviving this with like 1 HP. And maybe if I did the 1 lock, no. If I would did the 1 lock on, maybe 1 lock on, then throw the Stone Edge, then maybe it would have been a tie. No, I would have won. Would have won? Would have won. Would have won. Maybe. Or maybe I could have got a tie out of there, like if it had 2 HP. It's hard to say. But really well played by my opponents there. I had 2 favorable matchups in those last games, and I just got outplayed by my opponents. So, anyways, thank you very much, Homeslice, for you didn't suggest this team to me. I just saw on YouTube. But thank you for letting me use the team, dropping in the chat. Again, if you want to check out all my battles, they're on twitch.tv/KingIV. I played a lot of really good battlers, so and got outplayed by a lot of them as well. So we're still refining, still rusty. Still gotta improve my gameplay to get to that goal of reaching the front of the leaderboard sometime this season. Anyways, I'm gonna leave there. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.